Be applying styling to our application. So what it's doing is it's going to search YouTube and return back 10 results for whatever the search query is. And in this case, we're actually searching within our channel and then returning back the results that are corresponding for the channel content. So I've applied a little bit of styling in this lesson using flex in order to stack it and have 2 rows of content, and then it is responsive, so it adjusts to the 1 row of content if we resize it. Added some styling to the button and also to the input field, and also some styling into the title of the video. So the main objective, of course, is still remains to be to work with JSON data that's coming back from YouTube. So you're welcome to try it out, and I do suggest that you try getting different property values, outputting them on the page to really get familiar with what you can do with JSON and connecting to various APIs. So let's get started, apply some styling, and wrap up this mini application. So once it's working as expected, then we can update some of the content that we have here. So I want to clear out what the search results are. So within whatever the search query value is, let's remove that. So when we do make the request, we can remove that. And also when we're outputting content, let's output the H1 search for, and then whatever the term was that we searched for. And that term is going to be within the Q value. So that's already contained within the main object. And I'm just going to use the backticks here and search for a Q. So that will give the user a little bit more details on what they're searching for. So search for test. And let's try another one, just to make sure it's working. Search for JavaScript. Let's return back the JavaScript content. We want to apply some styling to the images. And let's make the images responsive within the box. So for any of the image tags. And max size is 100%. So set up the max width to 100%. So that will resize the images so they fit within the main containers. Also, instead of using the regular styling, let's apply and add in to the elements as a flex. So instead of width, let's set it up as flex 50%. So that will give us a flex of 50%. And we don't need the display properties anymore. Or we can keep the border if we want. And the padding. And then in the parent, so this is going to be where we've got the main container. So we'll have to add to the parent and apply the display property of flex so that we can use the flex box. And then how we want the flex to behave. So set the flex wrap, and we're just going to wrap the flex content. Let's set a font size. So I'll make the content small, so 0.9 EM. And also let's do a text align, and let's center align the text in the main container. And the main part is going to be within output. So let's copy the flex and the flex wrap, because this is the main parent. And then for the container itself, this is where we need 50%. So this will put 50% across. And let's go back in here and we'll make a quick update that we want to output the initial search content. And we need to close off the H1. So a little bit of debugging here. And let's see what that looks like. So the search for test, we want to have that at the full width. So that's not going to be contained within a container, whereas this container is going to be 50%. So let's add in a div there and try that one more time. And let's give this one a class. And I'll give it a class of search. So that way we can give it a flex of 100%. So select the flex and do 100%. So the search term goes all the way across, and I can make it big using the font size. So that way the search term is showing up there, and then we've got the results are nice and neatly stacked together and fully responsive. And if we ever want to update it, we can do 33% as well. So if we want 3 rows of results. And in that way, if we do update it, we can really easily also change the default results. So if we want, instead of 10, 12, so that nice and neatly stacks within the 3 columns. And just change that back to 10. And then going into where we've got our flex, let's update this back to 50. And then in order to make it responsive, if we want to do a flex of 100% on the container at a particular breakpoint, let's add in the media query. So whenever we hit a max width of, I'm going to do it at 680 is where we're going to set the breakpoint. And select the container. And for the container, let's select the flex and put to 100%. So on smaller size screens, we'll just go all the way across. Larger size screens, we can stack to. And this again, depending on what your preference is for the stacking and how you want to output your content. So this is just a simple example that we've got using some simple styling using the flex box. And of course, it's up to you however you want to style it. Also, if you want to update the styling of the button, we can do that as well, where we've got the button BTN. So let's select the button object, apply some larger styling. So set the background color, and how about we just set it to red and have white for the text. Do some padding there. See what the button looks like now. And also if we want to update the font size. So 1.5 EM. And then also let's also update the input. So the input for search queue with a class of search queue. And we'll also do the same font size. Let's set it to width of 100%. Display of block. And actually, we don't need the 100% if we're doing a display block. I'll also do display block for the button. And let's set it to 90% for the width. So that way it's not taking the full available width. And then to center it, we can do a margin auto to center the content. And we might also want to center the button. So again, whatever you prefer. Let's also update the line height to 30 pixels. And for the button, add in a cursor pointer. And then for the button hover, let's change its opacity so that there is some difference whenever we go on top of the button. And maybe that was a little bit too much. So there we go. So we've got our fully functional mini application that's searching YouTube. In this lesson, we did a lot of styling. So go ahead, test your application. And then once you've got the application running as expected, then update some of the styling, make it look nice. And also try out getting different property values from the JSON feed and output them on a page. And different variations of this application to get more familiar with the JSON coming from YouTube.